So application procedure. So I don't know if you be interested in one of the agent in Korea in the future, or if you are interested in being an agent in one of the 4 major sports in the North America by after studying in the United States. So take a look at application procedure. File a verified application for certification form. So you have to indicate you are interested in being an agent. If you pass the exam, you will become a certified NFL agent. Why Player Association require this process? I want you to think about the flip side. What's the rationale of agent of each different sport? So there's all different types of agent, lawyers. So once they have any market value as a player in NFL, and then so many different agents or agency will contact you, kind of, harassing you. I mean, they can call day and night, so they gotta prepare and protect the athlete. So if you wanna find out, oh, I got a phone call from Han Min-soo last night, how can I trust him? So if you go to NFL Players Association, then you should be able to find his name. If you cannot find his name, he's a fake. So trust the list of people who apply for being NFL agent. And attend NFL PA new agent seminar. So you gotta learn something. I want to make sure you understand the policy. Without having that knowledge and skills, then how can you represent a player? And then who's going to be a victim in worst case scenario? Probably will be players. 3, take open book test on salary cap, player benefit, NFL PA regulations governing contract advisors and other issues relevant to player representation. So you gotta pass the exam. And seminar and exam are given only once per year. And activities cover advising, counseling, negotiating, administering NFL contract, conduct of individual contract negotiations. So I believe if Korean Professional Sports League going to adopt American system or European system, they're going to benchmark, they're going to do a similar thing. Okay, request, apply, and pass the exam, and they're going to attend annual seminar. So you will be informed if there are any changes in policies and regulations. And then association fee, initial fee. So you gotta pay the due, membership due. So if you cannot have any one player, if you cannot negotiate any one player for a 3-year term, and then you will be losing your opportunity be an agent, kicked out of the agent. You are incapable of being an agent in NFL business. Agent compensation. So maximum fee is 3% of compensations. So feasibility of reducing maximum is 2% is being explored. So background check. No. You don't have to provide any FBI background criminal check. Interesting. And the number of certified agents, approximately 1,000. But if you consider, if you count other agents in sport business, sport area, from the Foster's, one of the agent in NFL, he said about 3,600 agents. And then only 200 agents have a client. In other words, 3,400 agents do not represent any NFL players. And then go to the next one, financial advisors and NFL. Financial advisors. So similar thing, all right? Association fee, agent background, not regulated background check, no. So what about NHL, National Hockey League Players Association, page number 363. So submit application for certification. So committee determines certification within 30 days. So you will hear after 30 days after submission of your application. And activities covered: provision of advice, counsel, information, or assistance to players with respect to negotiating and administering NHL contracts. The conduct of negotiations regarding compensation with clubs. Any conduct which bears upon the agent's integrity, competence, or ability to properly represent NHL players and NHLPA. So entry fee, $500 plus $1,800 per year. And agent compensation. Agent is prohibited from receiving any fee for service unless and until player receive the compensation upon which the fee is based. So number of certified agents are 159. So can you understand what that means? Agent compensation. So read it again. Agent is prohibited from receiving any fee for services unless and until player receive the compensation upon which the fee is based, including performance bonuses. Any opinions? Sometimes the agent requests their fee upfront. Scott Barnes was notorious done so many times. I'm going to have a 10-year contract for you with Texas Rangers. What's the fee? 5%. 10-year salary. You cannot make 10-year salary upfront, right? You have to play 10 years. Then you can be able to make some money from the team. But he requested the fee upfront. The players never seen the money, but he requests the money up front. So after 5 years, what he does? Transfer the player to other team. 10-year contract, you can collect all the fees, and then at the end of 5 year, which is a breach of contract, but the breach of contract, the compensation will be paid by other team looking for the player so badly, and then they say, okay, we're going to pay for the fee for breach of contract. And then another 7-year contract with a new team, I'm going to collect the fee again. Make sense? So think about long-term contract, which is one of the most attractive deal for agent because guaranteed salary. Okay, as long as you can play, okay, I'm going to collect the money. But in the middle of this contract year, I'm going to transfer. So that's not possible. So you have to wait until the player receives money from the team, and then you can request. Okay, so there's 4 different types of agency relationship. Number 1, express agency. Created when parties make a written or order contract. This is one of the most common way to have an agency relationship. I'm your agent. You are my client. Everything is clear and written. So standard representation. So standard representation agreement. So every league utilize standard representation agreement. Obviously, every league has a different form, different types of content, but they call it in a similar way. So standard representation agreement. And then clearly there's some underline or empty or blanks. You need to sign your name. Who are you? I'm Raja Park, the agent of Han-Min-soo. Okay, and then I'm representing from certain day, owner today. Okay, what day is today? November 4th, November 5th, November 4th, 2015. until November 3rd, 2016. So clearly set the date. So everybody sees you as agent of ABC player. So very straightforward. So most of cases. So Octagon Worldwide is clearly express agent of who? Park Byung-ho. And implied agency. This is kind of tricky. Tricky implied agency because there is no written contract between player and the client, player and the agent. However, from the third party perspective, we can see, oh, he or she is agent of ABC player. How? How? I can give you an example of Michelle Wee. Michelle Wee debuted at the age of 14 in LPGA. Nike had a contract. How much? $10 million. So she made a lot of money. But I mean, side story, she was going to Stanford University, but she actually debuted at Professional Golf Association, right? So she was a professional golfer even before she went to college at Stanford University. So she is not able to play amateur NCAA because she played pro. But she can play other sports. If she wants to get a scholarship from the university, then she can, she can be playing other sports. My former student who actually playing in Japan, who's so badly playing for Korea. So anyway, he was a professional baseball player. He played at the AAA, and then he said he want to be basketball player. So he came to university, and then he receives full scholarship. So he's a professional basketball player right now. But if he wants to get a scholarship for playing baseball at the university, then he is not able to get any scholarship because he was a professional player before. But I kind of read a newspaper. One of the former Korean professional female basketball player actually went to, I think, Yongin University. She was a professional basketball player, and then she wanted to study, and then she actually attended Yongin University or some other university, and then she playing basketball for that university. So from my perspective, that didn't make sense at all. How can you make professional player can be playing at the amateur level in terms of fairness? So anyway, so going back to the Michelle Wee's case, Nike believed that, oh, if I want to have an endorsement contract with Michelle Wee, who do I contact? She was a minor, and she doesn't have any express agent at the time. And apparently, everyone believed that her father doing everything. Her father actually a professor at the University of Hawaii in tourism management, right? He went to, I think, Seoul National University, physical education, in 1970s. Anyway, so everyone believed that her father was implied agent for Michelle Wee. So everything I want to do for her, and then, her father actually playing as an implied agent. So once that relationship has been established, then he will be responsible any actions taken by himself. So this is implied agency. Make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to read this. So this agency relationship can be found in other business. So you are the store manager, and employee has some authority to purchase purchase, up to $2,000. Okay? You are an employee, and then your store manager asks you, hey, you can order up to $2,000. If you see some of the empty refrigerator, or if you can order, some parts, right? And then there is no contract, because we believe that you can be able to do so, and you have authority to order up to $2,000. And then the third-party company approach you and try to sell you, hey, there's this kind of product, and would you be interested? And then you said, oh yes, I'm interested. I mean, if you have like a 10% discount, I'm going to order it for you. Okay? So we believe that you have the authority based on your business practices for the last couple of years. And we believe that you have the authority. There's no clear contract between you and your employer. However, from the third-party perspective, we assume that you are the person who can purchase that much money. In some other major company like LG, the marketing manager has authority to purchase up to $60,000. So he has a limited budget to spend 60 million won per year. So I can utilize this much money with some of the plan. Right? So there's no contract. However, we believe that you have to spend that much money, up to 60 million won, for related to your business. So a patent agency created by conduct a principle that leads a third party to believe another individual to serve as his or her agent. If the third party relies on the principles of conduct, if the principal cannot deny existence of agent's relationship even though no formal agreement exists. So this is similar to implied agency. However, I can explain in this way. If I'm your agent, I have to attend some of the important agency meeting, but I have some urgent issue within my house. So I ask Han Min-soo, hey, can you be agent for today for my client? Then you can be with your client, my client, only certain day. It's a big business day. There's no contract, just temporarily. I ask you, and then your client aware of you are the client, you are the agent for a certain event or a certain day. So this is a parent agency. You are not official agent, but I know you are actually representing him, my client, on certain events for certain cases. And then we all agree. Make sense? Or and then I have a ticket. Let's say tonight's exhibition game, Dream 12, right? Korean team and Cuban team, and 6:20 p.m. today. And then let's say I have a VIP ticket, but I'm not able to make it today. And then I ask Han Min-soo, can you sell this ticket for me? Okay. And then you are my parent agent. There's no contract, but you can sell the ticket to Choi Sun-jung. But you don't have any ownership of the ticket, right? But I ask you to sell the ticket. And then the Choi Sun-jung know that ticket not belongs to you, belongs to me. So we understand that who's representing whom and for what. Then a parent relationship can be established. The last thing, ratification of agent occurs when the agent does not have authority to act on behalf of the principal, but the principal accept or ratify the agent to act after the fact. Some certain cases, I ask Choi Sun-jung, I'm the athlete, and Choi Sun-jung is my agent. I ask Choi Sun-jung, Mr. Choi, I ask you to represent, to negotiate my salary only. You're my agent, but I want you to negotiate on behalf of me with my team, Texas Rangers, for example. And then all of a sudden, you are contacted by Nike and saying, hey, I'm interested in your client, your athlete. Okay. Can you sign this contract? And then you believe that that contract will be beneficial to me because that brings more money and I can make more money from endorsement contract. Everything is over, and then you can explain me, hey, Mr. Park, I got a great deal from Nike. Nike offered $20 million endorsement contract. However, I understand that's not my authority. You asked me to negotiate my salary only. However, I thought you'd like it. So after I look at the contract that you just made it, and oh, I like it. Okay? Even though I didn't ask you to define endorsement contract, but eventually I like the contract and then I can approve it. Let's do it. Then that becomes official contract and it can be valid right away. So after the fact, then you can determine, oh, is it okay, or is bad deal or good deal, or reject the deal or not. So depending on the result, then some potential ratification of agency relationship can be or cannot be created. Okay, so we covered that one. And I just want to introduce regulation of athlete agent. Once again, athlete agent or athlete representative, which only applies to North America, I mean United States. So this is very specific. So I thought about, if it's good information to you or not, but I just decided to introduce the concept. Because in Korea, we don't have any regulation in terms of agency and college, collegiate athlete. So Uniform Athlete Agents Act, we call it UAAA because there's a 50 different states. And each state has a different regulations. If I do my agency business in New York and I'm interested in one of a player in California, I have to report, I have to register in California state every single time. Okay? It costs money, it takes time. And if not, you are not able to any agency business in that California state. So you have to do every single state 50 times. It's a waste of time and money. So they try to create some standard way and then kind of easier way for agent. If you sign up for as a agent, athlete agent in certain state, and then you don't have to do it. Because if other state adopt UAAA the same regulation, and then your name will appear in other state. Timing is very important. You found great potential player, and then you gotta sign him right away, and then you have to sign up and again. Oh, this waste of time, crazy. Okay, so try to make easier. Try to make it fair to the agent in other state. Then any state who willing to adopt the same UAAA system, do it. So far, 28 states adopt UAAA, except California. California is kind of weird. California has their own way of regulation. I believe the Scaporos kind of lobbied. He wanted to protect his area, his companies in California. So if you want to do agency business, then you have to understand and you have to register separately in California state. So specific disclosures and warnings provided to student athlete and agency relationship. So once again, several times, the main reason of agency law and policy is to protect athlete. If athlete is contacted by agent, and then if that information was informed by university, then you will lose the eligibility to play. The players very naive. They are so good at sports, but they are not familiar with all these procedures. So if I'm the agent and then you are one of the top tier players, and if I call you and explain about the contract, then if anyone heard about our conversation, then you will lose your eligibility right away. You don't get any scholarship. You are not able to play for your team anymore. So players are not aware of that potential risk. So we're trying to protect. And instead of training and educating athletes, they decided, okay, we are not going to train athletes because their students are so busy with studying and practices. But we're going to have a very rigid rules for agent. If you violate these rules, and then you will be kicked out of that area. Worst case scenario, if you are one of the blacklist, then you cannot be on that campus anymore. You are protected being premises on certain buildings. Yeah. Some agent badly behaved, they are prohibited from approaching certain building. Athletic department, you are not able to be there for a certain number of years. And notification to education institution when an agent and a student athlete enter into agency agreement. So if you contact, so generally speaking, when is a good time to contact athlete? When is a good time to contact the student athlete? I'm the agent. There's my potential client all over the state. And when to contact, when to call. After the last game of senior season. If you have 4학년, if you're senior, and then you play the last game of the season, and then you're on the open market. Agent can contact you. But what about great player, and at the second year, and if I'm interested in going pro right away, and then they can contact the agent. But once you contact the agent, and then you have to know you will lose eligibility. You are not going to come back. Uniform penalties and remedies of violation. So let's take a look at. So create uniform legislation so agent avoid having to comply with differing state requirements. So every single state has a different regulation and policy. Try to make it simple. Okay, one way, one-stop shopping. So 2000 adopted by 35 states. I'm sorry, I said 28. So 28 states before, and then in 26 added 7 more states. So 35. My apologies. Every year I count every year how many states adopted, but the numbers kind of increasing each year. So uniform, there's a 4 area to look at. Uniform registration, very simple. Certification and background checking of agents seeking to represent student athletes. So uniform registration. So you gotta register. Okay, that's important. If not, you are not able to do any agency business in certain state. Or some of the cases, oh, I love this athlete. Without signing up, without registering, I happen to contact Han Min-soo, one of the potential player. If it's the case, how can you handle? You violated. So there's some exception. If you contacted Han Min-soo, who's a senior year student, and then who finished the last game of the season, then I have 1 week, 5 days to register in that state. So either or, vice versa. I register first, and then contact Han Min-soo, or I can contact Han Min-soo, and I have a 5 business day to register in the state. So you'll be okay then. I so state. So this is what I talked about. California has their own regulation. California's Miller Area Sport Agent Act. So you have to familiar with this act. Only California has that unique regulations. Okay, so section 2 offer key definition of athlete agent, student athlete, agency contract. Very straightforward. Register. So this is within 7 days or 5 business days. UAAA disclosure requirement. Amateur eligibility may be lost. So this is the most critical thing. Lawsuit. I'm going to lose my eligibility. However, I wasn't aware of that fact. My agent contacted me. He called me. I answered my phone. That's it. I don't want to lose my eligibility. Okay? So disclosure. So if interested, if expressed, you want to go pro openly, an agent contact you, then what are you going to do? The agent or you have to tell your coaches and athletic director that you were contacted by agent. Within how many days? 3 days. You have 72 hours. 72 hours. Okay? 72 hours. And then just in case you change your mind, how do you know you'll be able to make a pro? Medias, ESPN, Elias Harris, one of my former students who actually was not drafted by NBA, but he signed by Lakers. So he actually happened to play for LA Lakers. Okay, and there is a 64 draft, right? Plus, NBA has hired 10 additional players, side way. So even though Elias Harris was not drafted by NBA, but he was hired as a kind of a free agent types of contract. So, but he was very famous after freshman year. So ESPN mentioned Elias Harris can be able to make pro right away. So he said, I'm going to pro because agent and ESPN, the media, mentioned my name, I can be drafted. So he expressed at the end of the first year, I'm going to go pro. So he contacted agent. And then all of a sudden, the media disputed a different story. He might be, or he might not be drafted by NBA. So he kind of curious, kind of scared. If I not drafted by NBA, I'm going to lose my eligibility. I don't know what to do. So he changed his mind. Okay, I'm going to play one more year. So he has a chance to change his mind within 14 days. 14 days, but not automatically recover his eligibility. But NCAA going to review. Did he commit the same fault last year? No, he's first time. He was naive. He's a freshman, and he believed he can make it able to the NBA, but some reason he changed his mind. So can we forgive him one time, first time, so he can play for another year? So he was lucky to get his eligibility. But once again, you have to remember a couple of things. The first one, registration. Okay, agent should register in the certain state. Number two, if you contact the players, and then you have 72 hours to report to athletic director. Be honest. I contacted ABC player Tuesday. On what time? You have to specify. Because if you contacted the player, then the team, the coaches, will not let him play. Okay? Either the next 3 days we have a game, you are not able to play, or one more, one more option. You have a game in a week, then you cannot play in the next week. So either one comes first. So your eligibility will be effective right away, either. So you cannot play the next game, or next game is scheduled in next week, then you cannot play after 3 days from signing or contacting the agent. And you have an option to cancel your contract. I signed the contract but changed my mind. 14 days cancellation. But there's no guarantee to get your eligibility back. However, NCAA going to review your case seriously, and if you be okay, then probably you can be able to play again at the amateur level. The same thing. This is it. Okay, so some other information is very specific to NCAA, and then which cannot be the main interest of yours. So I just want to briefly cover. So this is what it is, but you don't have to be expert in NCAA agencies. Okay, so any questions? Any question? Just one more thing. We have 4 more quizzes, and then since we have a limited time to do it, then I decided to give the quiz number 3 as a home assignment. So same thing, very simple. This is about employment contract. So 3 questions based on 1 fact. I want you to answer by next week. Okay, put your name down and then find the right answer and give it to me next week. Okay, and after that we have 3 more quizzes. Okay, we got rid of the second exam, but we still have to go through 1 major exam and 4 more quizzes.